another wonderful episode of Parlor Talk, the conversation behind the hair. This week, we are going to have some good conversations, and we're going to kick it over to Dee.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Dee Dominguez. We are going to have an amazing episode today. I just want to say that I've been getting so many compliments on my hair, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that my hairstylist is Nakisha Camacho Shhmoney from Hair Artistry, because I have been getting a lot of compliments.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I'm going to throw it over to you, girl.
What's popping, y'all? It's Shhmoney. You already know what it is. I am the beauty thingy here, and I do all the hair. But also got the new business, to plug supply. So make sure you stop by. It's a barber supply store. So yeah, little mixture of everything, you know.
A little mini entrepreneur, mini just in size.
Just in size. But I feel like a 6'5" man in his body though. At the same time, like a little Hulk.
You want to introduce our guest?
Yes, my brother from another mother. I've known for years. He is an entrepreneur himself in different aspects of life in Southwest Florida. Has made a whole bunch of changes. So we have Brian Franklin here. You want to go ahead and let them know who you are, a little bit what you do.
Hello. For those who haven't met me before, my name is Brian Franklin. Some of you may know me by Befrank. And the interesting part is that those who do know me probably know me from different areas of my life. So I like to drop them all so you know I do the other things. So I am a networker. I love being in scenes where I'm around entrepreneurs and free thinkers and see how we can grow, whether it's something that we put together organically or something that, you know, someone else put together. Either way, I'm with it. I host and produce poetry, art, and community events around Southwest Florida. I'm also an MC for hire if you need someone to be the greatest MC of all time, specifically Southwest Florida.
Period.
I feel like as long as they speak English, I got them. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what type of crowd that you have. Mm-hmm. If you need an MC, I'm that guy.
He really
off
is.
Rip. And then in addition to that, people know me from my Bruce Wayne part of my life. That's the Batman stuff. Bruce Wayne, I'm an insurance agent, which is super boring for most people, but it's super exciting for me and it's dope. And I do that through Befrank Solutions. So whether you're just trying to connect with the best landscaper or towel guy or hairstylist, or whether you want someone to host your event or whether you're looking for insurance, I like to be a connector of people and do my best by people. That's pretty much my whole thing. Whatever best I can do.
Insurance, what kind of insurance are we talking about?
Hold on, before he starts, your camera's here, sir. You keep looking this way.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why I do that. Yeah, it was the closest. This one?
But I mean, he does everything because he just listed a whole thing of stuff, and I swear I've used him. Like, I'm making 6 years here at Hair Artistry, July 7th. Mm-hmm. And you have been a host for our events, for our anniversaries, for our parties. I have insurance from him, life insurance, to make sure I'm set when I'm older. My son is set.
We've even run over events together and produced events, semi, where she had a concept and I came in, threw a couple nuggets and left. And,
and I'm like, that is wrong.
I'm like, yo, we could do this, and this, boom, boom, boom. Or if somebody inbox me, hey, can you connect me with that? A lot of times with people, my whole thing is, if I can, I will. Mm-hmm. You just got to catch me. You got to catch me right away because my brain will move on. That's like, as I get older, we were talking about getting older before. Yeah. The one thing that I can't help is like the capacity for I do it and I move on, like instantly. Like as soon as we do it, it's gone. But if you have me in that moment, what I tell people, you got me in that moment. So when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids, all in. Nice. If I'm on stage hosting, I'm hosting. I'm all in. Whatever I'm doing, I'm there.
So you focus on the task.
On that task. Yeah. But when that moment is gone, you couldn't ask me a question. I couldn't tell you what shirt I was wearing yesterday. I don't know. It's gone. Wiped off the hard drive.
So you got to put your phone on voice record while he's talking and just get all the dimes. Like,
right then and there. That's the type of. But I get dime for you.
We help each other out.
There's the times I come back past the shop just to like get a little bit of just a little touch of the garment, just a little juju, little juju. And I remember a week after COVID. My partner, we do GCL, Gulf Coast Leisure, Poetry and Art Entertainment Organization. And we stopped doing events. And I was hearing from the community, like I had people who were going through depressive states because of what service we were providing. So it wasn't about the entertainment, it was like needing. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if we should come out.
It really is, yeah.
And this is like COVID shut down and all of that. I'm like, and I come over, I'm like, hey man, I don't know if we should come back out. because, and I told her my reasons why, and you know, I needed to just bounce off of somebody who wasn't as close to us to tell me what I wanted to hear.
Got it.
And Nakisha doesn't tell me what I want to hear. She tells
I
me
think
what
she's
she
like that
think.
with everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
I'm
tell me
very
what it
raw.
is. I was like, boom, boom, boom. She was like, you listen, I just did this last week. Boy, you better get out there. And do boom, 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 boom. And I was like, yo, I'm not getting left. I'm let me call the team. And
I'm
get
telling
it
you,
back
it's
to
the
going.
universe, because even though I'm not, a lot of people know me as Shhmoney. That's what they know me. I'm always business. You'll rarely see something personal on Facebook unless I feel like it needs to be addressed. And nobody will ever know what an entrepreneur is going through. As you said, we went through COVID. We went through 2 hurricanes. We're still trying to get our lives together. And it's like we're here in hurricane season again. It's like one thing after another. When he walks in, it's either him and there's another guy that comes in that he's a realtor, and he always brings me treats and stuff. I freaking love him. And he walks in, and it's when I need it the most. And he'll come to me, he's like, I just need a van. I'm like, well, damn, me too. She appreciate
What
it.
you got?
Grab
Yeah.
a chair.
And
Grab
we're
a chair.
both just boom, boom, boom. And after the end of the conversation, it's always just uplifting. It's whatever we're going through, it becomes business, then it's a hug, it's family. All right, bro, I'll see you later. But that's the best part of our relationship. And I feel like that with I have like probably a good handful of people that I can do that. We don't talk for every 2 days. We don't text every hour. We're not meeting up every week. But when we see each other,
It's
it
productive.
is productive. It's like we've never left. And it's just family type of vibes. And I freaking love it here.
No,
I love
you
that.
know it's dope because there's a few people who you know, entrepreneurial wise that I can. Okay, I said all the things I do, right? So I'm moving all these different areas and lanes where it kind of the herd thins. I can bring her into any one of those herds, and she be good.
Yeah.
So I did like a stuffy networking event that I love those guys, but they could be a little, you know, they
I felt so
Like
out of
blue
place
collar,
at first when I
blue
first
collar
walked
type
in.
of.
yeah, a little more buka. And I'm thinking, but I love those guys. Shout out to them, CIA. We call themselves the CIA
Yes.
Connections in Action Networking Group.
They do at the Prime,
And
right? Is
yeah,
it overtime.
Overtime. We did it overtime. We just moved to North Fort Myers area, and a lot of them, you know, I just wasn't sure what it clicked, what it hit, you know. But I know she's dope, so I just believe her. Boom. And then they connected, and she talked to them, and boom, and she shows up, and just, oh my goodness, oh my god, we love Nakisha. Oh my goodness, I should do this when I had these ladies. It's funny because we had social media managers in the room, and even they were like, I wouldn't say learning respectfully. I wouldn't say they were learning, but they got a fresh perspective on things that they knew, and to hear them communicate after, even when she's outside the room, because it's easy to pump somebody up when they're next to you. They were like, oh yeah. I said, yo, you know, my peoples, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna bring
Got a little
nobody.
pride there. Yeah, that's
I ain't gonna
good.
bring nobody into the situation. You know what I'm saying? We on that, and so it's dope to be in a space where I can do that with someone, and then also the relationship be low maintenance enough where I don't have to feel like she doesn't have to worry about me being in my feelings, and vice versa.
I know that
about
feeling.
anything. We want to be in your feelings, and if it was transactional, and I think transactional relationships are fine, the transactions are respected. So
Yes.
even if the only thing we get from this is a bi-monthly what's up, I appreciate the what's up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have to like all her posts or whatever. But when
Exactly.
I do share a post, yo, thank you, no.
Yes.
Boom. Or she, okay, cool. And then we let it be.
Yep.
I'm like,
I
that's
love those type
A1.
of relationships. I thrive on low maintenance relationships because
I do
one,
too.
as I've said it many times here before, I'm not a social media person. I am doing social media to use it to promote the things
Businesses.
that I have going on, right? But I remember one time I had somebody say, how come you don't like none of my stuff? And I said, how do you even know I don't like none? Like, who has the time
Oh, people do.
to sit there
Big time.
and look at who liked what when? I
Oh, no,
I don't
girl,
have that time.
You have. I used to hang out with a group of girls that are well known. I won't say their names, but they're well known. And I've always been the tomboy. I don't care about makeup. I don't care what people think of me. I'm very flamboyant. It's either I'm lighting up a room and you love me, or I make you very intimidated and you're not gonna like me at all. There's no in between with my personality, and so be it. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm somebody's cup of Patron, you know? I'm gonna put that on the t-shirt. But
patent pending or whatever.
that
you need to say,
part,
whatever
that
you
is
need
being
to
#Shhmoney. But I remember sitting in the room and this was before I was real into Shhmoney. I was still here by Nakisha. They were going through posts of likes of people. And there was one girl who was like, oh no, I got 200 and something likes. 5 minutes later, well, I got 300. Oh, this bitch just liked mine but didn't heart it? Oh no. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I sat there in this whole conversation, I'm drinking my Patron at the time. And I'm just looking at both of them. And I'm listening to their conversation. I'm like, wow. People really do take the time to go to their likes, see who likes, see who loves it, who likes, who laughs.
I can't.
And it's weird to me, but social media has gotten that big. And I think people are forgetting that the difference between reality and what social media is.
Yeah.
And it's getting a little overwhelming for some people, and it's okay to take that break. Like, I took a break the last month. I am very big on social media. I used to do inspiring posts every morning and videos, and I would post 3 or 4 times a day. I was very active because this is what I taught in networking classes, mentoring, teaching at Florida Academy. And I remember one day waking up and feeling drained, overly drained to the point that I didn't want to post. I didn't want to take pictures. I didn't want to do a motivational speech that day. Like, damn it, I don't want to talk to nobody today. So I started learning that I'm like, you know, you get burnt out.
Burned out.
And you don't even realize it. And you start worrying about if somebody's sharing this and if somebody's liking this. Are you getting enough engagement? That becomes a whole nother job.
You're putting so much energy
Exactly.
into what everybody else is thinking, then worrying about what you felt at that time.
And you're doing it because you're doing it because of just passion, because you love to do it. But when something becomes a job and not something because you're doing it because you want to do it, it gets overwhelming. So it's okay to have that mental break and stay away from it a little bit. And now, thank God, with social media, you can schedule posts and really take
if it
that
wasn't for that,
day.
a lot of people would have been snapped.
To that part.
I think a couple things happening with social media. One, I think we're taking something that's a tool and making it a necessity.
Yeah,
like a lifestyle.
Yes.
I was talking to a mutual friend of ours. You actually just mentioned her recently before the podcast, and she was talking about going on a social media break and stuff like that. And I said, you know, the funny thing is, you know, we've been conditioned to always have our phone in our hands and be aware of them and be plugged in. And we've been conditioned to think that social media, if you're not on social media, then you are not alive. You're not, you don't really exist, right? But I'm like, hey man, businesses have been around well before social media. So when I told her when I worked at a restaurant, there was a point where we had like this really good cookie that we would make, and it was like bacon and all these random things in it, and people would come like crazy. And I remember a chef left, and he was like, you know, Brian, you're in charge, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, our mixer broke, so we couldn't make the cookie. So I call him, and it's like a Friday night, we about to be popping. I'm like, chef, I'm gonna take the cookie off the menu because the mixer broke. And then he was like, Brian, how long have people been making cookies?
Without a
and I've been like, so I'm like, and then you mind you, like it's like bombs going off. People, tickets, servers, everybody cussing. It's just an entire full service restaurant energy. And I'm like, what type of, I don't know, thousands of years? He's like, okay, how long have mixers been around? And I'm like, I don't know, like maybe like 50, 60 years. I don't know. I don't know. He's like, man, you better get that elbow and start mixing.
That
So
part.
I was like, all right, respect. So it's just, so take that to the social media thing. It's like, yo, on the real, if social media is the mixer in this situation, it makes life a lot easier as far as getting your messaging out. This is going to be on social media. Everybody's business, you know, I get the tool, but if you didn't have the tool, you would still get the job done.
Exactly.
You would have to go out and be face to face.
Boom.
Which is just like when people do community events. Like we all do a lot behind closed doors, and nothing always has to be broadcast.
Exactly.
Like if you go feed the homeless, why are you sitting there with a video in somebody's face when they're in the lowest part of their life just to post it on social media, let somebody know that you're feeding them? Like, how messed up has our society got to do that? And there's a lot of stuff that we do as entrepreneurs behind closed doors that nobody will know. All the hard work. This is not 9 to 5. But we're up to 2, 3 in the morning sometimes
It's
making
the worst.
things.
It's the worst. Who chooses this?
I'm telling you, that's why
Who
there's
chooses
only
this?
5% entrepreneurs in this world.
Well, listen,
It's
so
not
when
meant
I was
for
putting
everybody.
my event together, there were many nights where I need, unlike you, I need 8 hours of sleep. I'm way older than you, so I appreciate.
I'm good on 4. I'm like this.
I appreciate my 8 hours of sleep. When the month leading up to my event, I can't tell you if I even got 2 hours of sleep a night because the stress, the wanting for everything. And my event, again, it's for my nonprofit against the loss mentorship program for teen parents. I don't get financial gain from it. But what I did get the day of my event, I got to sit there and watch my whole event play out exactly how I had envisioned it and exactly how God put it in my dreams.
And sometimes even better.
And that was priceless to me. So it is worth it. It is something that we all do, like you said, behind closed doors. And I know you do a lot of, I know I've seen you at the Q. So you do a lot of stuff with our youth and our kids in our community, right?
I try to do a little bit. I say that the things I do have areas where it's a high activity and then there'll be low activity. I have to touch another part of the community. So I'm an artist in the way that wherever I'm called and whether my desire matches the need, things will occur. But a lot of things that I try to touch, the most work I've done is through DMs. Like I've done more work through DMs than anything else, or text messages saying like, hey, I think you should call this person. Or someone called me and they wanted me to be part of something, but I can't. I think you should. Or, a lot of times people reach out for me to help with something. And then, whether I can or can't, even if I can, I'm going to tell them, oh, you know about this? Or you should check this out. And then, if they follow through. So most of the things I've seen play out for me outside of my personal events and endeavors are watching other people be dope. And then me having that smirk, like I had something to do with that. Like
even for my event, I sent you the flyer and then you posted it. I mean, you said that you couldn't make it, but you still helped promote it. So I like that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And we got to be at a place where that's enough. My wife and I were talking about this, and we were talking about transaction. Like that's why I'm using that word a lot because we've been talking about that word, and just valuing what a person can and can't do, right? So if you come to me and you were like, yo, Brian, and whether you saw me pull up in a Benz or a bicycle and you were like, yo, can I borrow $5, right? Because I really need it. I'm hungry. And I go, I don't got it. Whether I was in a Benz or a bicycle, you got to respect that I can't do that.
Exactly.
Because boom, right? And communicating well enough. And then being at a point where at the end of that, the thing that I do give, that you go, wow, I appreciate that thing you did.
Exactly.
Like I'm on something like community-wise, these relationships I've been building are people, my tightest relationship are people who appreciate what I did and the time that I did it. And then vice versa. I'm like, yo, thank you for coming through. Like I might not see Nakisha at a show for a year, 2 years. And then she pull up to an event and I'm like, oh, so I could be running. I could be literally running.
I'm gonna be like, and I feel like his GC, if you have not been to GCL, like you don't know what you're missing. Like honestly, that was my first taste of the art life and the poetry life and just from comedians to people doing live artwork on the stage and aside, and they're doing raffles and they're selling paintings, and then you have poetry. You have such a diverse group
you were at
of
my
people.
show. You had a table at my show.
Yes.
I remember Marissa introducing you to us.
Yes.
You coming through, you were one of the hairstylists. Like we've only in the 10 years, we've only had like 3 people who do hair come to the show. And I remember them explaining it to me and saying, "Oh, it's hair." I'm like, "Okay, it's hair." And they're like, "No, it's hair artistry." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay, my bad."
There's a difference.
There's a difference. And then I got privy to it, and I was like, "Okay, this is dope, man. This is."
Like, I want to go back to what you said earlier about whether you roll up on a Bentley's, BMW, or a bike. So I was coming from Miami the other day, and as soon as I got out on the exit of 136, right? There was a homeless guy in the corner, and then there was another gentleman selling flowers.
Okay.
I usually don't carry cash on me, but I looked at it and I know what my immediate thought was, right? So I took a picture of both, and then I posted it, I said they're both in the same stoplight. What is the first thought that comes to your mind? So I want to ask you, what is the first thought that comes to your mind when you see that?
So there's a homeless guy. And then
They're both homeless.
They're both homeless.
One is holding up a carton that says homeless, asking for money.
And the other one is
selling flowers.
Not to be an old man about it, but can I tell a quick story?
Sure.
Okay, so there's a guy, there's a leader who should have a documentary made on him, who I respect a ton, we call him Mr. Muhammad, and he runs the Q.
I love Mr. Muhammad. Remember, I used to work at the Q.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
And for those who don't know, he's out. Look him up. Look at the Quality Life Center. They're
Amazing.
my favorite nonprofit organization. Every time I get a chance to donate through the life insurance policies I do, and they don't have a nonprofit, I put the Q in there. So
That's
not to
dope.
be funny, if a couple people die, the Q won't get millions of dollars. I don't want you to know. But anyway, so I talked to Mr. Muhammad and Marco, my partner, one of my best friends. We needed a favor from Mr. Muhammad. And this is like, we were like 23 years old, so this is like 10 years ago. And we were like, hey, can you introduce us to such and such person? We're trying to get in a room with such and such. And then Mr. Muhammad, I don't have the story completely put together, but he said, he looks at us, it was so random, I don't know why he did it. He was like, okay, if you were do you help homeless people, or do you give people rides? And I said, yeah, I actually do that, which is kind of random. A lot of people don't know that. I don't want to broadcast that, but occasionally if somebody, can I get a ride? And they're like walking down the street, I've done that, especially on 82 because it's wild.
Yeah.
But anyway, to get to the point, he says, would you be more willing to help the person that's walking towards their destination or the person that's standing there? And I thought about it and I said, no, I'd probably help the guy because I'll see the direction he's going. I'll know if I'm going in that direction. And I respect that he was going to go there regardless of me or not. So then his point was, okay, before I introduce you to so-and-so, I want you and your partner, Marco, to go do the work first, and then I'll help you. And it was random because I didn't know him at that level for him to say that, but I appreciated it. So when I look at that picture, I think about Mr. Muhammad saying that to us, and I go, hey, the guy with the flowers is making a way. And even if this guy was selling like, weeds that he found down the street and they weren't like real flowers, I'm gonna go, well, it wasn't about your resources, it was about your resourcefulness.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, cool, man. You took a situation and you saw what you had around you and you go, I can make something move, I can make something shake off of this. It's not about the flowers. Entrepreneurs, the best entrepreneurs are that way.
Yeah, it's not about the money.
It's not about the money. I'm gonna say it's not about the money, it's about, like, for example, in the insurance industry, a lot of times people come into our industry and once they get their license, they're like looking for someone to give them clients. So like, give me clients, right? And then I'm always telling people, okay, what do you have before you came here? Like, what do you have around you first? Before we start asking me, do I have a hammer and a measuring tape and all of that? You may have something that like, I don't even know. I don't know if I'm rambling, but.
I get it.
Like a brick. Like you. I got a brick and a nail. Because, okay, hear me out though, right? So say if I say I'm about to go build something and I got a brick, right? And I got a nail, like you just said, perfect example. Say if I knew, okay, hey, Brian, we need you to build this shelf or whatever the case may be, build something. Say if I knew that brick, obviously you're going to use that brick to build on, but say if I knew that brick was 3 by 7 inches, and I go to you, and man, I don't got no measuring tape. I know how big that brick is. That's resourcefulness. That's me going, well, I don't have measuring tape, but what I do know.
Your knowledge.
This is my measuring tape, right? And then, well, dang, Brian, I don't got a hammer. Hey, man, that brick
Can be a hammer.
it just became your hammer because you know it can take that, right? And then when you all said and done, you laid a brick down and it became part, not only your tool, but it became part of your masterpiece, right?
Absolutely.
So the ability to be at a place spiritually and mentally where you can take, because we all have it. That's why we talked about God having everything you need. It's always there, especially if you live in Southwest Florida. I say specifically if you live in America. And then specifically if you live in Southwest Florida. Outside this country, I can't really speak on that. But if you live in this country, and then specifically if you live in this area, I'm not going to say there's no excuse, but I'm going to say that you haven't developed the ability to look at a brick like a hammer and a measuring tape.
Exactly.
So when I look at those two people, I don't know what psychologically and spiritually the one guy is going through for him not able to see it, but I do admire the guy that said, yo.
That's selling the flowers.
Yep.
Boom, boom.
So,
Yeah.
What you said is something I say all the time, which is money is a way that we quantify resource. That's it. In the animal kingdom, the way they decide who's the predator and who's the prey is resourcefulness, right?
Exactly.
So
It's like,
money means nothing. Resourcefulness is everything. And to your point, you could have a brick and no hammer, and you could say I'm hammerless. Or you could say, here's what I got in front of me, and I'm resourceful, so God's got me, I'll figure it out. So when people get attached to money, that's ego, right?
Yeah.
When people get attached to resource, that's your heart, that's God, that's powerful. So you really just quantified that in what you said, is that resourcefulness, that defines your capital. That's your worth. That's your, when you talk about assets, if you're resourceful, you could get out of just about anything.
You're
Yeah.
MacGyver. You're
Yeah.
MacGyver with that. You're like, yo, you're looking at a situation and you're going, I've been in a place spiritually several times a year where I'm like crying to God. Like, it's not, I'm not asking him for the thing. I'm asking him for me to see the thing I need to do. Like, don't send me the boat. Could you teach me how to swim or something? Like, I mean, that's a weird, I definitely want a boat. But if I was in the ocean. But
Because you got to be very specific with God.
But I'm like, oh my God.
You got to be
So
specific.
I'm like,
But God's also not Santa Claus. And I get mad at the man all the time because I'm like, show me who's for me and who's against me.
Yes.
And then I'm like, no, not him.
Oh, guys, for those of you that cannot see, that is my friend Lee Clark. She is part of our audience today. I invited her. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday.
Hey, let's get it.
But yeah, so I mean, I love that. I feel like,
So what would you have done?
so this is what I said I would. I need to start I used to always carry at least $20 in change in my glove compartment just for that. Somebody said, I wouldn't give the homeless money. They use it for drugs. So for me, I would have bought some flowers and I would have given the homeless guy some cash as well. Because I feel as though I'm very proud of the guy that was selling the flowers because he looked Hispanic. And I'm sorry, I'm proud of that, you know. However, I'm nobody to judge the other person that was a homeless because I don't know what he's been through.
Or
I don't know
circumstances.
I don't know if he's a veteran, if he has mental issues. So for me, I would have given money to both. I would have tried to help both. I didn't either one because I didn't have cash, but it was I wanted to do like that little social experiment because some people said, I'm just gonna buy flowers. Exactly like somebody said, the homeless person is just gonna probably use it for booze or drugs. That's not for me to decide. When I give because God has blessed me, therefore I can bless somebody else. Whatever they do with the blessing that I give to them, that's between them and God.
There's a barometer on that. Tell you where you are.
And not to mention, these new set of homeless people, they may have came after the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That too.
Perfect job at everything.
Yes, that's
And
true.
that's what I think people forget is that they have to remain humble because as much as you're on the top, you can be just on the bottom quickly.
Real quick.
And
Especially-
in no degree.
No
No,
degree.
not who
Especially
you
if you're the
know,
one
not
that lives
nothing.
paycheck by paycheck.
Exactly. And
Yes.
at this
So
point, everybody's
especially the way
at
the
that point.
economy's going.
Yeah.
The way everything is hiking up in prices. Pretty much everybody is living paycheck by
Yeah.
paycheck. So the way I was raised is you give to whoever is needing it. Who are
Yeah.
you to sit there and judge?
If you can
If they're
give,
go-
because you
yes,
cannot
if
pour
you
from an
can.
empty cup either.
Yep.
And I think that's what
If
a lot
you
of
have-
givers
if you have a couple
get in a hole
extra
for.
dollars, or if you have a couple extra cents to spare, then you give what you can. You don't give them all of it.
Of course.
But you give what you can to both of them because it's not your place to judge. And that's the way I was raised, is it's not up to me to sit there and be like, he's just going to go buy cigarettes or alcohol. God is now seeing me bless that person. So then later in life, when I'm in need, then I will be
it
blessed.
returns.
Yes,
The universe
absolutely.
does back.
Absolutely.
So that's the way I've always been raised.
What if you did this? What if you bought a bunch of flowers from the one guy and gave it to the homeless?
So he can sell it and remake the money.
Ooh, you know what?
Exactly.
That's
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 powerful.
genius.
That's outside the box.
Yes.
That's definitely outside.
Yeah. And
Yes.
they'll never go hungry.
That's true. You know what? I didn't even think about it. So, but again, I'm gonna from now on.
I'm from
try to
Philly
carry
though. They may square up though. see, like so you gonna sell flowers right next to me.
You know I just did so.
So you gonna go sell flowers? Hey man, you better move around, son.
You better go to the next corner.
I could buy myself. Like yo, boom.
But you know what though? That's something I didn't even think about. That's definitely.
I never thought about it until the question was posed right here, but what if you did that? What if you took the resources one man had and empowered the next man to show him, be a little bit more resourceful? And
Wow.
if he squandered that resource, that's between him and God,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
But at least you
Exactly.
did so.
Yeah.
That takes me back with Michael. Like, he's my old veteran. He's been in the industry for like 50 years. He's an old ass man. And
He don't even look old.
to me, he's like ancient. You ever watch Barbershop? You know that black kid sits in the back.
The
he
one that
talk
doesn't
shit.
cut hair.
Yeah,
But
we talk shit. That's Michael.
But Michael actually does
He
work.
cuts hair and he's taught. He was my educator in school.
Why you taking shots? Like,
Believe me, we do it all day in the salon. I do it right in front of his face.
is that real?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I talk mad shit, and he talks. Oh, he is like up here, and he's feisty
saucy.
with it.
Nah, I got
Sometimes
you. Yo,
I'm
man,
in.
shout out to was Michael.
Michael, we call him
Yo,
Mac
shout,
Daddy.
Shout out to Mac Daddy, bro. I
Mac
got you.
Daddy.
Like, if she drop if she drop 2 more jokes, I'm gonna defend you. I don't even know you. I don't like it.
But
I got it.
Mac Daddy is that type. Like, he's one of those. In school, he was very hard, and he drilled the people that he saw something that can inspire somebody and will build you. And I remember him looking at me, and I was going through a lot. I was on probation. My son's father just got sentenced to 10 years, and I'm still hustling, single mom, working crazy hours. And he looks at me and goes, if you're serious, I'll teach you everything I know. I'll make you the best hairstylist in the world. But the one thing you have to remember is to give back when you get high enough. And continue to do that free education. Everything I taught you, you give to the next person. Because if I die with this knowledge and the love for hair, it might die in the whole industry. We need more people that love doing what they're doing and not for the money. Yep. And now, back then is when I told him, I was like, all right, man, when you retire, you're going to come work for me because I'm going to have the hottest hair salon in the industry.
And now
Fast forward, he's here,
He over here?
retired. He should be retired, but he just works 3 days a week. I think more just to keep company and be around beautiful women.
Was that his own karma to get you to get him back in?
Probably. But like, he's like, I'm tired of teaching. I'm ready to go back to the hair.
I teach you everything. You gotta get me a spot.
Give me a spot in a
That's
chair.
job security
But
right
I
there.
damn sure I gave him a chair when I first opened, and it wasn't until COVID when everybody lost everything, and people that thought they were so secure, they were on their on their ass.
I'm saying this though, real talk. If you lived in Southwest Florida for like more than, let's say 15 years, right? If you've been here for more than 15 years.
From what time to what time?
I'm gonna say this: if you was here in 08, if you was here in 08,
yeah.
if you was here in 08, you shouldn't be moving like that because literally in 08 we saw what it looked like for people
When
to
they
be,
hit the
Can we
bottom.
cuss on here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People be assed out, like yo, boom, on it. Cause I remember like recession. All right, so the first restaurant I worked at, Five Guys, and I was a little 19-year-old manager. Where like I was that annoying manager too, like yo, they give power too quick type of thing.
You had the power.
Oh, you one of those.
Boom. I was on that, like yo, you ain't gonna tell me
Security
nothing.
of the world,
Yeah,
Craig.
I had a real thin mustache. My mustache was about as thick as my head hair, and I'm on here trying to tell people twice my age sometimes, and they had to check me, hey man, you know what I'm saying? Real talk, I've been doing this before you was born, type of thing. I could be your dad type stuff, whatever. But at any rate, I remember interviewing people with master degrees to flip burgers with a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your 19-year-old manager.
Wow.
And they was on some like, yo, I have a master's degree and this, and this. And they showing me this is school they went to and all the accolades and blase. And I'm trying to see would they be good enough to drop
flip a
fries
damn
with me.
burger.
Like, yo, could you drop fries, dog? Like, could you?
Do you have customer service?
Do
Can
you
you
have
talk to
customer
people?
service? And it's weird, man. And it's like, okay, boom, you fast forward. If you survive that from this area, then you know what it is. Like, you know what it is. Like, you know what it is. People were squatting back then.
Exactly.
I was literally pulling up to friends' houses, and we was on some like legally we're not technically supposed to be in this joint no more.
But we gonna be chilling.
They got the sign on the front door, but you got the key, so we got couches in here, so we finna make it do what it do.
Yeah.
We say it, whatever.
The Chinese drywall houses.
When they lost all the houses.
Yes.
First house I squatted for a whole last year.
Yeah.
They were just glad nobody was stripping like copper wire.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
People was mad they was taking copper wire, taking pieces of people's
Yes.
wells and
Shit,
tanks
AC
apart.
units and Lehigh,
Yeah.
because people were yanking them suckers off.
But the thing is, when you tell new people moving in, they thinking like, "Oh, you talking about No, I'm talking about the nice. You know that spot that you
Yes.
paid $500,000 for? Yeah, like a couple years back, man, I could have got that
Like
for
12.
$150.
That
I could
part.
have got it. I
Yeah.
could have got it for $150,
Yeah.
son. We was really out here making it do what it do. People working 3-4 jobs sometimes. Ain't nobody passing out stimulus either. We was
No.
out here off the
we were
muscle.
thugging it.
We was thugging
Thugging it.
We was I was Carlton still thugging it. I was out there. I was like, I'm like, hey there, guy. Like,
Hey.
I was flipping burgers, but I was doing a lot of other things. We made it happen.
We had to. We didn't sit back and just wait for it. And I think that's what people have to remember. And I have to tell myself that sometimes, like, 10 years ago, I was praying for this. I had nothing. I can barely swipe my card and be like, oh my God, if I swipe this, it's going to decline. Damn, I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to have to take all these groceries back? Oh, hell no. And I don't have food stamps. Like, it was crazy. And now you think that before I was struggling to pay for a 1-bedroom at $500 and barely making it, working 2 or 3 jobs. Now, I'm living in a place that's $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom. Never in a million years that I think, will I ever pay even $1,500 for a place? Yeah. But we're making it happen. So now with the resources that we do have and all the downfall that we went through and we built from that, really think about where you can get that drive from again and rebuild yourself and go higher and higher because people are
that's the reason why when I left. I haven't taken a paycheck like consistently. There's been moments where I got kids. I had to smarten up, so I did like a week or two somewhere, part-time somewhere. But generally speaking, I have not been someone's employee outside of 1099 work. I've not been a W-2 employee since 2017.
Wow.
And when I think about that, and I think about it's been an ugly process. It's not like I didn't do it. No. I call it, it's my Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear, he doesn't fly, he falls in style. So I'm not necessarily falling, but I'm gliding. I'm gliding. It looks like I'm flying.
Yes.
Your wings are not flapping, but they're keeping you up.
Yeah. Yes. So depending on where you stand, you're like, oh, he's flying. Another person going, I know he ain't flying. I know he ain't flying. But the thing is like, yo, dude, when it gets really hard, I'm like, man, there was a point when I was, doing saute and doing fries or whatever, when I was like, yo, I can't wait till I leave this job. I can't wait.
And now
I know the feeling.
I know the feeling. The restaurant that I was working at is down the street from me. The last restaurant, or the last time I was an employee, second to last time I was an employee, but last time I did whatever cooking was a place either that way or this way. It's called Cork Soakers Deck and Wine Bar.
Oh yeah.
And I was a cook there, and I was a kitchen manager there, and I specifically said what I was gonna do. And I don't even know how it happened because but it did though.
It was like I was into existence.
I'm like cutting potatoes hand by hand and doing all these things, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to do. I'm gonna sell insurance. And then I remember my coworkers looking at me like, that's a weird flex to have. Like, that's a really weird. Like, you don't have to like dream to do that. And you don't have to. And the crazy thing about it, because again, this is like that whole perspective thing, and like where you are and what you've been taught. Your nature and nurture, all these things come meet at a crossroad, because I had convinced myself when I was working at the restaurant that I couldn't be an insurance agent because I didn't have sales experience. Oh. Because all I knew, all I knew was
customer service.
Customer service of some sort, you know what I mean? And so I was like, oh, I need to go get a job at Verizon first. And then I'm gonna work at Xfinity, and I might sell cars. And I'm like, I literally made this list of things I would do
before.
And the craziest thing, the way I got into the insurance industry, we were in the middle of a move, and something told me to Google every insurance agent within my zip code. And I called each one on my life. It was like the most, like, God told me to do it, and I did it, and I thought I was weird for doing it. And I called each insurance agency and said, hey, I know this is weird. I need you to look at this like I'm a high school student. I want to know what it takes to get into this industry, right? So I was treating it just like as if you would tell your 18 or 16-year-old to
job
look
hunting.
Into it, right? So I wasn't even looking for the job. I just wanted to know.
Learn.
And then one of them was like, dude, we're hiring. You want to come down like boom, boom, boom day? And I show up, and I wore like super dressed up clothes. Like I think I wore a sweater over a button up. I was on that type of. Like I went. It's
definitely
like
Carlton.
I went like Carlton. Like I went super Carlton. I think I had a tie with the button up, the sweater, fresh haircut, everything.
Was it tucked in? Was the sweater tucked in?
The shirt was tucked in, but the sweater wasn't.
All right, good.
You know what I mean?
All right.
What was their reaction to you?
Yo, they was kind of like, after they told me the truth, like, yo, you came way too heavy for this. Like, you really brought a gun to like a knife fight type of thing. But at the beginning, they liked how, because I just took that much to get into. I respected the industry that much. And my experience with the industry was like at such a high level outside of like that network marketing stuff, but like the real stuff, I was like, yo, I want to be that.
Okay.
And then I get there and I got the job, and I
Nice.
don't know what led to that. I went on a tangent.
That
but
was
regardless,
God. That was
but
God.
resourcefulness. It was It was a resourcefulness, like
And determination.
It was determination, but it was also, it was those two things. But the part that right now my mind is sticking on out of that was that I listened to God.
Yeah.
There was literally we were moving stuff. Like we were moving from one house to another, and I was just more like, nah, I don't want to, because restaurant work is like physically demanding, especially when it's like the old school and it's the tickets, there's no machines and stuff.
Been there,
and I was
done
like,
that.
man, and I remember thinking, man, I don't want to go to work after this. Like I'm moving all these boxes and refrigerators. I'm the only man. It's just so I'm the only man. Ain't nobody helping me. You get to a certain age, if you're young watching this, all that came my homeboys help you move stuff. Dead.
Nobody helps.
Done.
Nobody
You
helps
done.
you.
So stack your bread, get a moving company.
Not
Anyway,
bad.
boom. And it was just like, I was like, man, I don't want to go to work. I'm going to call insurance companies and see what it takes. It was so cheesy.
So what I'm hearing is you have a good relationship with God to the point where you are susceptible to hearing or feeling his Holy Spirit speak to you, and you have enough determination
make
and
action out of
obedience to follow through. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm going to say I have that at times.
Okay.
I'm going to say I have that at times. It goes away. But I want to hear God. I just know that I know I do things to like, I learned this from a pastor. God never goes away from you. He never leaves you, even in your darkest place. So whether we're talking as simple as how I'm going to pay my bills or as real as I'm a victim of, human trafficking or something crazy, like even in your darkest place,
God is still around.
it is there.
Yep.
And he's there. It is there. Now, there's things that we put in our mind. Again, this is all coming from us. How you give back to the homeless, what you think about your resourcefulness, is all coming from the place of self. Your outlet would determine a lot of things. There's a guy named Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust. He survived the Holocaust. And while he was going through the concentration camps, he visualized being a professor at a university and teaching on the power of the mind and psychology. And they tried to break him, and they couldn't. And then later on, he went to be a very well-quoted and very, highly awarded professor and psychologist. And he did this through, boom. So it's all about here, right?
It's your mindset.
So with me, with God, it's like, God is always talking to me. I just got to peep it. It's the whole name of the game is, can you peep?
You got to be able. You got to be able to see when and how. Have you always been? Were you born and raised from Fort Myers?
No, I'm from Philadelphia. Philadelphia 215 all day.
Philadelphia.
But,
Hey.
215. So I'm from Philly, but I've been in Fort Myers since I was like 13. And so at this point, I'm in the group of people who say they're from somewhere, but you really from here. Type of
Raised
deal.
here. That's our home.
So like I'm like, yo, I done made babies here, got married here.
Yep.
So I'm from here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I respect those who were born here. A little, little heritage that I can't take from that. But everything else, I'm in there, and I've bled into this area.
And you're pouring into your community too, because everything that you do with the arts, with the poetry, even with your insurance business, you're still pouring into the community. All that talk, I want to get a little personal. So you can cook.
She said, we don't get personal, so you can cook.
No, my bad. So no, I cannot.
But you worked in restaurants. The reason I was asking was because you're married and you have kids. So I asked this to our guest last week, so I want to ask you the same question. Do you believe in traditional roles, and what does that look like in your marriage?
So Marie and I, for one, if you see her, hug her, because she has to deal with me. Like, yo, pour into her.
There's such a good balance, by the way.
Pour into Marie because she needs it, and especially like all my lady friends. Like sometimes we want to text them like, yo, can y'all take her out somewhere and like do a girls whatever thing, you know what I mean?
Oh,
but
be careful what you wish for now.
No, yeah, take her, man. Just take her, man. Just take her. Just take her. Bring her back now. Bring her back.
Bring her back in
Bring her
one
back.
piece. All right.
But no. So Marie and I, the whole where we are is that whatever needs to get done, will get done by whoever's most equipped to do that task.
Got it.
And as far as relationships are concerned, your relationship is your world. You know, that's why when you break up, you feel like your world fell apart.
Yeah.
And you build your world. Well, in your world, whatever the rules that function in your world that are healthy spiritually, financially, and all those other ways, do that. So like when we have these like talks about like roles and stuff like that, you know, no disrespect, but at some point it gives me a headache because I'm like, dog, whatever goes in your household, if he happy, she happy.
That's what works.
That's what
And
works.
I mean, like, y'all good. And there's no one size fit all, none of this. Because if he gonna be, I do scripture wise, because coming from a place of, you know, like Christianity being my base, I'm gonna say that there is a role that a man should have in his household. Sometimes people will take a scripture and like everything else we talked about today is all about perspective, what you want it to be.
What you want it to be.
I can spin whatever I want it to spin.
Absolutely. A lot of Christians do that.
I think everyone does that for every single thing.
Yeah.
A car accident can happen and I can say it was his fault and you can say it was their fault. We could just do that.
Yeah.
That's the power of our mind. It's where you're coming from. But as far as gender roles in the home, my role more than anything is to be the spiritual leader of my home and to give that direction.
I like that.
So more than anything else is that. Now, if I hit that mark, it also means that by default, I will become the physical protector and the provider because I'm going, if your goal is high enough, you kind of hit certain things by default. So I see that being happening. At the same time, I'm an entrepreneur. When I joined this creed of people, and even sometimes not COVID, but just certain areas, I need her to be the boss.
Got it.
Now, boss may not be, when I say boss, it's just, whatever term, but it could be like, yo, Marie holding it down. Like, you know what I'm saying?
For whatever you need.
Yeah, whatever you need. So,
Well, one lacks, the other one gains.
yeah, because it got to get done. So if it's like, hey, how we going to pay? At one point, it was rent. We have a mortgage now. But at rent, how we going to pay rent? Okay, she made more money this month than I made. Am I going to like trip about her doing that? No, like, yo, pay the rent, dude. We need a roof.
We gotta make it through.
We need a roof.
Yeah, but some men, and quote unquote, because they get their
It's
ego
their pride.
hurt.
It's a pride thing.
So kind of going into that too, our producer sent me a video of a woman talking about a 50-50 on a marriage and how that's shit. Because not every person at that time
Has a 50-50.
50-50.
You know what's crazy? I just had that conversation yesterday.
So then he sent it to me. I looked at it. I read it. And then I was kind of like,
You trying to tell me something?
that's what I did. Exactly what I did.
She didn't want to say it, but she
So
did.
what you said?
I was like, I looked at it. I was like, what's this supposed to mean?
And I didn't. She didn't talk to me about this. So
EPMD. So what you
But-
saying? Like, what you
But then it was just like, then I watched it again, and then it was just like, yeah, because there is times that, I'm just like, I'm not there, but communication is
It's the
something
biggest key.
yes,
gonna have to
communication
play a
is
part in
definitely
it.
key to any relationship,
Yeah.
not just marriages, friendships, partnerships, like
everything.
everything. If you don't
Everything.
I'm a big. People accuse me of talking too much because I like to communicate. Are
You
you
want
sure?
detail.
Yes. Are you sure that this is what we said we were going to do X, Y, and Z? And I need you to repeat it back to me so that I know that you understood and that we understood the same
I love
thing.
that. That's my favorite move.
See, and
Yes.
I be pulling out. I'm like, yo,
Yes.
And
tell
that's
me
my
what I
boyfriend,
said.
and
Yes.
I'm the
Tell me
opposite.
what I just told you.
Exactly, because
boom.
I could say something to you
And
and,
you're not
you
gonna
can
take
interpret
it.
it in a complete different way from how I meant it.
Yeah.
I think, how there was a wave of like, because we all kind of got on the same point, like they need to teach kids economics in school.
Big time.
Economics and all of that. Okay, I'm not saying take that away. I'm saying in addition to that, and if we had to do hierarchy on this, is communication skills. Like, it's not about being a great orator or being introverted or extroverted. Can you, and I just made a post about this in relation to what a friend had told me. Can I get my message across to you, right? On the flip side, can I receive whatever that when that bounces back to me? That's communication as well.
Absolutely.
Communication isn't just, there are some people who have a hard time putting their words together. But then, and we always want to go to that person, like, you don't know how to communicate because you don't talk. But there's also people who can talk their behind off
And don't take it.
and don't know how to like
receive it.
back. And like this, so I told you all these things. I did 60-90% of the talking, and you said a couple words, and it rocked my world. Right?
That's why God gave us one mouth and 2 ears.
Yeah.
Bet.
You're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak.
Oh, I don't.
And there's
Yeah.
listening to respond, and there's listening to understand.
Yep.
That's the difference right there. Because most people listen to respond. They're waiting for their part, ego.
I'll admit it. I'm
Well, she
quick
said,
to
I mean,
fire
Enya
off.
has said numerous
I'm
times
quick
that
to
she
fire
is
off.
petty. Instead of being
Queen and
Enya
petty.
Phoenix, she should have been like Queen Petty because she said it. She's like, I'm petty.
I can be
I
petty
am.
too. That's my
There's
move.
my moments where
See, and I'm not like
I'm
that.
not
I don't.
like
I'm
that.
not tit for tat. But one thing I learned being with my boyfriend now, what he's taught me a lot, and I think sometimes you have to sit back and really reevaluate who you are, and you can be petty, you can be very responsive and know what you want. But it is how taking it in, because sometimes we think we're right all the time. And I remember talking to my boyfriend, and it was like, it wasn't an argument, more of a disagreement. And he looked at me as, it's all right to disagree to agree. Like, we don't
Agree
have to
to
be
disagree.
to agree to disagree. And he looked at me, he goes, it's the way you represent sometimes, or you say stuff. And I was like,
how
what do
you
you
say it.
mean? Like, this is what I told you what I wanted, and
Yep.
you're not
There goes the
listening, and it's
hands,
not
there
done.
goes the hands,
Yeah,
there
I
goes
was
the
like,
head.
doom, and he looked at me.
Explaining you.
See, and I was like that, and he calmed me because I didn't realize it. And when he's telling me, he's like, "It's the way you're saying it. It's the tone
It's
in
not
your
what
voice.
you say, it's how you
It's-
say it.
And you're
I-
making me feel like I need to. Like, this
I'd
is
be
a
like
job."
wanting to record. I've said this to the most important women in my life. I've been in a point where I wanted to, if I had hair, pull my hair out. And we've been in arguments, and I've said, I swear, like almost crying, how upset I've been in those interactions. And this is my mother and my wife. So funny.
The two most important women in your life?
The
Yeah.
two most important women in my life. I'm going to go tell my therapist about it tomorrow. And I said, I just want to record what you said and how you said it and how I responded, because I don't think you hear yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, Marie knows, that's my wife, and we do that now. Like maybe in the last week I've said that to her, and vice versa, she said it to me, and I'm like, you don't understand, like, it's not what you said, it's how you said it,
And it's a big thing
or
on that.
was it justified, or whatever the case may be. And the one thing I get, not just in relationship with my wife, but anyone, is that if you are who you say you are, and most of us think of ourselves highly enough to say that we are spiritually or intellectually capable, right? Sometimes it's gonna be frustrating to deal with people who are not on your wavelength or not on your level. So it's kind of like dealing with kids where you go,
Yep.
you go like, man, what you did really frustrated me, but I understand you just need a nap or whatever, right?
Are you
So,
hungry?
yeah,
You're
and-
in the bar.
And so you're thinking, okay, you 18,
you
they
tired.
grown, so I don't have to deal with that no more. But like I deal with Medicare. Some of my clients are Medicare too. That's a shout out to my business. One of my business. But I'm like, you thinking, okay, this person's old enough to know better.
But they're
Nobody's
not.
old enough to know nothing.
Nothing.
And we're learning every day.
So it takes so much emotional and spiritual energy out of me too. That's why I have to recharge in every circumstance, because I'm always trying to take into account for, like, okay, maybe you don't understand what I'm trying to say, so I have to do the heavy lifting in this and get you before you get me.
Okay.
And not get as far as attack, but understand, like, so I'm talking to you and I'm like, yo, listen, I'm gonna assume that you don't get me. So I need to meet you where you are.
Let me break it down.
Now,
real
when you
quick to a
find
different
somebody
level.
who just gets you, the reason why you love that, because all of a sudden the
weight lifted off.
it don't there's no
Exactly.
heavy lifting, because you're like,
Yeah.
yo, we just understood each other. It worked, and that's why you get excited when you get around like
And it
minded.
feels so refreshing.
Point, what if we operated under this person probably has the best intention in mind, instead of being oppositional immediately?
I get that, but to compare it to this is like, okay, my son is a lover boy. My oldest son, he's a lover boy. He'll be in here hugging all of you guys and boom, boom, boom. He has the best. I know my boy's heart. Out of all my kids, I love all my kids, but he got the heart, right? but he would fuck something up even without. So you want to go intentions, but if we all move, and idealistically, and you know, just being all kumbaya, we're just looking at people face value off of intentions. But I have to know what you're capable of and what you really are going to do, because you can have the intention to help me move, but then as soon as you pick up that box, you break the glass, and I'm like, okay, I should have used discernment to know, intention or not, you wasn't finna lift that, you know, and know myself too. Maybe we need to get an outside person. That takes a certain level, like you have to do the heavy lifting. And that's why, for me, it can be tiring. I don't know what I'm saying is right. First of all, I'm gonna take everything I've said and say, I don't know if it's right. But where I'm at is that in most interactions I have with anyone, clients, friends, I'm gonna assume that they don't get me, they don't know. I over-explain sometimes until they show me signs otherwise. So and then I fall back from there.
With me, so I've been married 29 years, and I feel that, I mean, I know that I'm not as mature now that I was when I was 16. However, I was not your typical 16-year-old. I've always been very, very mature. My husband's 45 years old, and we're just now getting, I feel, in my humble opinion, that he's matching my communication skills, right? And we're having these deep conversations, and I am like enjoying them so much. And I'm like, and he's like, wow, like we had a disagreement and we talked it out instead of what we used to do 5-10 years ago. Stop talking to each other, argue, scream, and yell,
and walk
stop
away.
talking for a couple of days, and then come back, not resolve anything, and just act like nothing happened.
And brush it under.
And you changed
so
too,
me,
right?
But me, I've always been the one that wants to talk things out. But I've understood in the years that's passed that he was not at that level yet.
And I feel
so
like
I know his heart. I know his heart like your son. He has a great heart. So that's why I stuck around, because I was like, there's going to be a aha moment. There's going to be a time in his life when the light bulb is going to go on.
But I feel like it's understanding your partner too, and friendship, understanding love languages and how people react and talk, because we can be a gifter and that's how we show love constantly. But the next person can be a toucher or one to talk. So you have to understand that somebody is not going to be you.
Yes.
Like, and in growing up, if you are in survival mode, you're doing it young. Like I've been a boss since I was 19, 20 years old. So I'm very assertive. I'm passive aggressive. Some people are not going to like it. My tone of voice is very here, and I'm the only girl in a whole, almost cuss, in a whole Camacho family. Yeah. So my boyfriend one time said that. He's like, don't talk to me like I'm your employee. Like, you're talking down on me and not to me at this point. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, no, you're telling me what I need to do, what I'm not doing right, and not looking at the bigger picture. So it is a reflection. I feel like everybody has to look at yourself and figure it out.
I have like this, I think a lot. I got a big ass. so I have this thought. I've shared it with a few people before, never like on camera, but I have like this thought process where when I think about communication skills, I look at it like currency, and I look at it like international currency. And I got this. I came to the revelation because of couples therapy with my wife, and taking account for why she is the way she is and why I am the way I am. I come from a house where it was so much passion in everything. So there was cussing and fighting and domestic violence, but also the love was loud, everything was loud. Her family, the opposite, right? And my flesh, and it's still built in me. I haven't got over this, but my thought process, even in my language, you can kind of hear it. Sometimes I feel like my communication skills are better than hers. So when I talk about it as if there's a hierarchy, like she needs to get to where I'm at, right? And that's built in. Like I haven't overcome that yet.
We're always growing and
but
we're always evolving.
I also look on the currency part. I'm looking at it like, no. Okay, she survived a lot of years before she met anyone like me or met me, right? She can communicate. We just communicate a different currency. So what's happening is, and that's why I do the whole, do you understand me? Or do I understand you? Which can be frustrating for her. But the reason why I do it is because it'd be the equivalent of exchanging like the yen for the peso or the dollar. Yeah. And so
Especially if you guys are different cultures.
We're just different culturally. She's Haitian American.
That is definitely big on it.
She's
That's
Haitian American
huge.
from Florida.
Culturally,
I'm from
it's
Philly.
huge.
Well, Philly like its own country sometimes.
Yep.
And like, yo, we just function different.
Different.
Way different.
So
My Spurs would be quiet off camera, but I will say, I told Dee this the other night, and like this has helped me so much in my life recently, especially. And I recently got punched in the face, so like I know about like people who can't communicate well. Everyone is the hero of their own story.
everybody's the
Yes.
hero. Everybody.
So everybody coming at you, even if they came from a different background, they're the hero of their own story. They're loving you the best way they know how. They're trying to communicate with you in ways they understand. They can't reconcile being the loser of the story.
Yep.
No one
Exactly.
can. Everyone is super smart, super mature. They know every politician
Yep.
thing you should do, how you should have got the submarine out of the water,
Yeah.
what I would have did when I should have
what
bought a
would you have
house.
done different? Yep.
Everybody has their answer, and Icey, like not to be funny, but like on some, I always tell people like it might be kind of racist, but I'm like, yo, if you want an opinion on something, ask black folk because we always got something or something.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Boom, we always like, yo,
Something to say.
so what you think about? Blah, blah, blah. But I don't even watch soccer, bro. But I'm gonna tell you what I think about this. Boom, 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 boom. But okay, but I say that to say this. So if I humble myself enough to go, okay, because there's two things that are happening. I feel highly of myself to be aware that I'm aware of things, but humble myself to know, dude, you aren't right, without making it a pity party. Because you can go too far and make it like a I'm gonna let somebody get away with woe is me. I'm gonna let you get away with murder.
Yeah, no.
Type of deal. Like, I'm not gonna let somebody get away with murder.
It's all about balance.
Yeah, you can't go too far in that spectrum where it becomes a pity party, but you can't make it all boom, right?
All about you.
So like with Marie and any relationship I have, male, female, close or not close, I'm like, okay, I just want to get you. Because if I can translate what's going on in my brain to words and what's effective for you, I can get to the point where the message is across. Because if I make it about, it would be the equivalent of me helping you across the street, across a busy street. And then when we get over there, you cuss me out. Fuck you, Franklin.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And I get mad and made it about you telling me thank you. Or did I help you across the street because it was the right thing to do?
Exactly.
Right? Whether you said thank you or not, whether anyone noticed or not.
It
right?
all goes down to what we were saying earlier. You give just because you were blessed.
You
at
don't
the highest
expect
level,
nothing,
right?
yeah.
So communication-wise does it matter more that we are on the same page or that you heard things the way I wanted you to hear them?
That you heard
Right?
things the way that I wanted to hear.
So I'm talking to, and I only bring up my wife because that's a relationship that matters more to me than any other
course.
relationship. But this applies to every relationship. I just want us to have a mutual understanding. Understanding does not mean correctness.
And it doesn't
mean I
agree.
agree. It doesn't mean
Yep.
agree.
No.
It just mean like, yo, when I said this, did you get the gravity? So when so for example, like language is such a funny thing. Even we both speak the English language and words have different meanings for it. So Marie's like, I'm tired. I'm tired and her I'm tired, two different I'm tireds, right? So I'm tired, but I can still bust a move. I'm just telling you, her tired is like, yo, I am done and I can murder any of y'all right now. like right now.
I
it's
think
over.
that's every woman's tired.
Yeah.
See, the thing about it is, guys don't put themselves to get to eat. We know, hey, we got to gas up at some point in time. Women will go to the
Extra mile.
They
Yeah.
oh, you need a nap?
because they're tired of being. The expectations are different, or the muscles are moving in different ways.
My expectation is different because I know, hey, I'm cutting this person off. She says it all the time.
Yep.
Hey, if you can't answer my phone, I'm cutting it off. I gotta go to sleep. She's being mindful that she has to go to sleep.
Yep.
And it wasn't until learning that and
Me
being
too.
drained and being burnt
Yep.
out when you start learning boundaries. And I think that is the biggest thing now that I'm working on is boundaries
Me
to the
too.
point that I'm off. I work Tuesday through Friday, 15-hour days. I hustle. I'm here an hour before and I'm here 2 hours late every day. First one and out. Saturday, Sunday, Monday are my days off. Monday, I'm here at the Parlor Talk, but it's not like a work, but I'm still here
Yeah.
communicating. I don't care how many times you text and answer me. I will not answer you. I've learned that. And before, it'll be Saturday night, I'm eating dinner with family, and I'm sitting there replying back to messages.
not
Let me do
I.
this. Then I'm catching myself overly working. We have to learn when to shut our bodies down.
Yep.
Yes.
Just talking to your friend.
Yep.
It's
that's
still
working.
working.
Yeah.
If
And
we were
it's
lawyers,
okay
they'd be
to do
billable
that.
hours.
Yep.
Yeah, that
If,
part.
if we were lawyers, it'd be billable hours. You'd be like, yo, hey, listen, I know you just sent me one of, because I'm notorious for being the person on the other side of that. To be like, hey, real quick. What you talking about?
Yeah, real.
It's not real quick.
Wait, hold
I
on.
turn my
But
phone
you
off.
did text
See,
me
I've
that
learned
too.
that. I put on airplane mode.
Real quick. let me just-
So when I go to I have iPhones. So I have my husband, my kids, my mom
Where it can
on
ring
my
through.
emergency,
Yeah.
right? And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's it. And she sent me a text last night. I was out. I was sleeping. I mean, and it was only what 9:40 something when she texted me. I was sleeping. If I'm sleeping, I'm not being woken up unless it's an emergency.
I feel
by
like
a family
I
member.
feel like
to be able to tell people no
it's a powerful thing.
is like
It kills
to-
me.
okay, to say no.
I'm just learning.
To say no and
Yeah.
hear no
Yes.
are underrated skill sets.
Yep.
Because some of us can't do either. Some of us can say no, but they can't hear it, and some people can't hear it. And it's just like it's such a weird thing because it's like to say no and not have to justify it.
Yeah.
Unless we have a relationship where it just okay. So for
Yeah, I
example,
feel like
like
I
I
have
have
to
it's hard. Like
We have
my
to overly
kids,
explain
I may
for
have
what?
To explain
I-
for my, like the level
For
of
what? If
boom.
I say no, I'm
She
that.
could be- she could
I'm
be
like,
smoking- she could be
no,
smoking a
because
black,
I have to
smoking
do
a
this,
cigar.
this, and this, and this. And my mom will look at me like, no, Derek does it. Derek will look at me and goes, you serious? Why are you explaining like that's your mom? I was like, you know, you right. Click, delete. No, can't do it. Sorry.
And so defining, communicating the relationship enough. And I was funny because I was talking to somebody about just like defining relationships better. Especially because I'm on some like everybody's my bro, everybody's my sister, and not everybody's your bro, not everybody's your sister. 'Cause
Oh
it's-
wait!
it's
that
devaluing. It's
that
devaluing
new song
that
that
word.
came out by
Oh, broski,
yes. Listen,
run it back.
mind blowing.
Yeah, broski by
Mind blowing.
I haven't heard it.
broski.
What?
By,
I don't know who you're
You
talking
have
about.
to listen to it, Broski.
I have not-
Oh my
Listen.
goodness, what's his name?
I don't know.
Joyner?
I've never heard
Eric
of that rapper until
Joyner,
that came
something?
Oh,
out.
the song.
The song Broski.
Why did I think y'all was talking about a cell phone?
No,
No,
it's a song. No, it's a
I
song.
don't even
called
know what
Broski.
song.
It's
Never
by
So basically,
something Joyner.
is they're in a dinner table, and it starts off with the rapper. I don't know his name. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and his best friend is gonna give a toast. So the best friend starts by saying, "Yeah, I want to thank you for being my friend since we were 6 years old. You've been there for me more than my family. When I was in my lowest point, you gave me money. You never changed up on me, even when you became big."
Calling him
And
broski the whole time.
The
Yes.
whole time, broski. But then it turns dark because he's like, now he's asking him for money, and you are gonna tell me no? How dare you tell me no? I've been your friend since we were 6 years old. I've been there. Like, it turns really ugly, and it be that person
It'd be
that
that.
you've known.
It'd be that way. It'd be that
Since
way.
you-
So
It's
You gotta
crazy.
be, you gotta be
She's-
careful with that. broski.
I'm literally going through that right now, and I'm fighting my own demons the last week or two to understand that it is what it is. People come in time in certain
For a
times of your life
season.
and seasons. I've been friends with somebody since we were 12, 13 years old. Mind you, I raised her kids. She has raised my kids. I just went through a really big transformation of my life probably about 2 months ago when I'm opening up the plug. I never spoke on it. I really don't feel like it's a personal issue. And I had to eat it. Nobody knew what I was going through. She was the first person. She was my best friend. I'm like, she is not going to judge me. I just need somebody to listen. Hear me cry because I don't even call people to cry. So I'm talking to her. She's crying with me. We're crying together. We hang up. I'll be real with you. I've never reached out again because I mentally, to me, I'm like, I believe in energy. If I'm unadjusted, why am I gonna go to you that you're here when me down here? I shouldn't. Like me personally, I will not. And I'm not gonna unbalance you. So I went through my own shit, refreshed my mind, went through the things and got better. Well, because I've never reached out and never did nothing to her, she completely took it personal, ghosted. To the point that even jabs are getting thrown on Facebook, and I'm seeing it constantly. So then I was like, nah, you know, when the shoe fits, tie that bitch up. I don't feel like the shoe fits. I wrote her, hey, how you doing? Da da da. I shouldn't have to explain why I went through that gap. You know, out of everybody, you're the only one that knows. No response. I'm like, oh.
It's like that.
Oh, it's like that. So then another day goes by. I'm like, you know, we all busy, whatever. Hit her up again. Just trying to see how you doing. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook. You seem like you're in a really dark place right now. I hope you're okay. No response. I'm
Nothing.
like, oh, fuck, that shit's me. I'm gonna put you on, huh? So then I'm outside. She pulls up. And I'm that direct person. What's up? How you been? I text you. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't see it. I'll text you back. Never hear back from her. I'm like, oh, it's like that. All because of just you feel some type of way that somebody should be leaning on you or a friend that you've been with for years and you don't get that recuperated back. And people have to really understand that, yeah, there's going to be some times you can know somebody for years, but they're not going to ask something from you. But when you don't give it to them, they get a little hurt.
I
or
mean,
they don't feel important enough to be in that
situation,
aspect.
you might have a certain level of, there's like, and I don't know where you are spiritually, but there's like okay, I love you, I hate you, right? And then there's indifference. And indifference sounds like hate, like I just don't. And when I say I don't care, it means that it does not mean that I care less. It means that there's no movement. I'm in that middle. I'm in that spot. Indifference isn't a bad thing. It's just it's been given a bad. And so it's like I'm talking to somebody. And I'm like, listen, dude, bro, I wish the best for you, bro. And if you got beef with me,
you
like,
have to sleep on that.
for the poetry and art stuff that I've been doing, and just the community work, and especially because I've gotten in rooms where nonprofits and certain social and political leaders have been, and every time I like go into that room, I realize how beef can be. Like, I'm thinking street beef is bad. Yo, don't cats. They be
no.
That's
a different type of beef.
Yeah,
regardless,
that's a different
though,
type of beef.
so I'm sitting
Social
there.
media beef be
And
crazy.
it's in their mind sometimes. Like people really create so much stuff.
There's a narrative in their head.
Yeah.
So then I'll be talking to somebody. I'm like, listen, for one, I have no, like Brian Franklin right now, and at least for like the last 5-6 years since my daughter was born.
It's like I have no beef with nobody.
I don't have beef. I don't wake up and think how somebody's my enemy.
Yeah.
The most a person will trigger out of me flesh wise is I look at you as a healthy competition. That's the most.
Yeah.
And in my mind, that's an honor. If I look at you,
Yeah.
Of course.
damn. And I say that to my friends as well as people who I'm not friendly with. So I said earlier, she was doing her events after COVID. Boom, boom. All the advice in the world was motivation, was positive to me. But you know what really motivated me? She was taking action, and I wasn't going to sit on my hands. So I was like, okay, boom. That's the most, if anybody would say anything out of me, and that's healthy because I want people to do her.
Of course.
It's not for everybody. But I'm like, yo, I don't have beef with cats. So when I'm dealing with somebody who's like mad like that, and I'm going through and I text you, like I got a homie right now, he's my best friend. And I haven't spoken to him over a month, and we would speak on a weekly basis, sometimes twice a day. My wife would get mad and say, I think you married him, right? And I say this on camera, but we're working through it right now because I've reached out to him over the last couple of weeks. I'm not in my feelings because, one, if he's mad at me, he's mad.
Yeah, that's
You
how I
didn't do
feel.
anything.
You know, we've been boys since like way back when, high school days. Two, if he's not mad at me, he could be going through something. And he could be at a phase like you.
Exactly.
He could be the you in this situation and just don't want nobody to
Exactly.
like, yo, I'm in and because I've known him and we are at that point, I know him long enough that I had to reconcile that. You know, even though I've told him, yo, reach out to me when you need help. Even if I can't literally help you, yo, you might want to joke with somebody. I can be the joke person.
Yeah.
You might want advice. I can be the advice person. But what you
Yeah.
want? But if he's on some mode where like he's grinding right now and he just head down, knock it out, imagine me being mad at him because he ghosted me because he going through something.
That
So
part.
we could ruin a whole future relationship. So my thing is I'm gonna be indifferent. I'm like, yo, I reached out to him. This is not a metaphorical. This is happening real time right now. And in a day or so, maybe after this, I might shoot him another message. What's up? If he read it and not respond or whatever, yo, unless someone attacks my life, you are not an enemy of mine. And even if you do attack my life, I'm gonna go, one, that ain't hurt me. Two, I will look at the intentions. I will go, hey, what's the intention? Like maybe you was just doing you and you kind of like stepped on my toe doing you. Okay, boom. And then I gotta figure out whether I'm gonna put you in your place or not. But regardless,
I've learned not to give it as much energy. Like sometimes it hurts. You go through loss, whatever. But at one point, it's like you do what you can. You're there. If anybody, best friend, they should know you better, so you understand different people's aspects. And you should give that naturalness to let people do them. And if it is what it is, and you just keep it moving.
It's called grace.
Exactly.
Grace,
I'm
yeah.
gonna give you.
And I don't hold grudges. I've been done
I'm at a
dirty.
stage in
Keep
my
it
life
moving.
that I am so unbothered.
That part.
Unbothered, yes.
So unbothered that I made a post about this I think a week or two ago. I had a little, Mondays are now self-care Mondays. I just take care of myself on Mondays, and then I come here to Parlor Talk because I love it here. But on one of those self-care Mondays, I invited 3 girlfriends that I wanted to spend time with. That was what I wanted to do for my own self-care. And just in conversation, it came up that she's like, a particular person came up and she's like, I don't mess with her no more. And I'm like, oh, why, you know? And she's like, she's shady and she did da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh, that's, you know, that's unfortunate that she did that to you. She's like, she did shady stuff to you too. I was like, what'd she do to me?
That part.
I was like, completely. She's like, do you remember your event last year when this, and she did this? I was like, and when she brought it up, I was like, holy shit, she did. But I am in that level of unbothered that I didn't even notice.
Sometimes it scares me. I'm like, when you get to that point, because there's also like the reality, like the nature of stuff. Like you want to be aware of threats, right? But to be at a point like, dog, I didn't even realize this person was coming for me.
Yeah.
But see,
the way
that I see it is that I don't have faith in humankind. I have faith in God, and He protected me. So what her intentions were never got to be what she wanted it to be.
It never hit the full.
No, because I still have my event. It was amazing. I had my event this year, and it was amazing. And she didn't have an event this year, so that says a lot.
I think that's the issue, is that we can all go through our own stuff, but when you don't fumble and you're consistent, even with some people knowing what's going on, some people don't know what's going on. They're like, damn, he's on his shit. She's on his shit. He's always busy. They're like, how the hell is she doing it?
Yep.
And then it becomes enviness. Then it becomes jealousy. Then the hate comes. And then it's like, no, you have to really sit back and just rethink and reevaluate yourself again. It really goes back to self-consciousness and really understanding where you're at.
Absolutely.
And then you just keep it moving.
I was talking to a sister. You don't give a shit.
Don't.
I
don't stop the money in the bank.
Exactly.
On that note,
yes. Because listen, here on Parlor Talk, we can go on.
We can keep talking and talking and talking.
Yeah.
But I brought a little bubbly today to celebrate my friend's birthday. Hi. So we're going to close with a little champagne popping.
Ooh. So this doesn't happen all the time, right?
Oh, so before no it does not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we gonna pop
I'm so happy it's your birthday. I'm gonna be here next time for your birthday too.
So can you please look at your camera and let everybody know where they can reach you at, all your social media handles.
And if you have anything new that's going on that we need
I'm gonna put the eyebrow up for y'all. Y'all ready? Eyebrow.
Ooh,
oh, serious. It's serious.
Lick the lips, get a little LL. All right, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. No, all jokes aside. So once again, my name is Brian Franklin. Many of you know me or don't know me, should know me as Befrank. I have an organization called Befrank Solutions. Is where I not only do hosting and networking and business-to-business events, but I also provide people with life, health, and Medicare solutions. I am the expert on those things, certified, credentialed, and experienced. If you don't know how those things work, whether I sell them or not, I will tell you how to make it happen. Right. Outside of that, I am also well qualified and a little less credentialed because they don't have credentials for doing shows. But I do. I produce events through my company, Gulf Coast Leisure. We have a bi-monthly event. The next one, July 19th, called Art and Poetry Networking event. It is Southwest Florida's longest running artist showcase, most consistent. With a TV show and a podcast connected. If you want to know more, you can shoot me a DM. You can go to an email at Befrank Solutions, GCL, Gulf Coast Leisure, all of that. Or just reach out to these Foxy ladies. Talk to them, buy one of their services.
And we network
donate to their cause. Talk to them. No one called me. Call Huey. And then you call me in boom. So in boom.
Call Parlor Talk.
Call Parlor Talk.
Woo! On that note.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
I did not mean for that to happen.
It's your birthday. Yes, you did.
Right.
Yes, you did.
That's why we need it.
I had to sit in there this whole time so that it wouldn't happen.
I would have shook it.
All right.
And speaking of resourceful, your network is your network, you know?
Heck yeah, you know something. So in camera,
Icey's like, let me clean this up.
Producer, cleaning crew.
He's supposed to look up and smile.
Editor.
Supposed to look up and smile real quick so that his post production put the little sparkle where your teeth is, like chill. You know what it is.
And I've been on a diet for 4 days.
Wait. I gotta give Icey some mine. Hold on.
I'm in over here flipping my hair back in. I'm here. I'm like, I'm feeling bad about my clip-ins right now. I'm in a hair salon.
It's like nobody could tell.
We go.
The
We in there.
humidity got me on the way out.
I'm so
I went
sorry.
straight mullet. It was looking good until I left the house.
All right.
Let's get this. Let's
Guys, please make sure, here at Parlor Talk, we don't edit, we just improvise. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share. That is the only way that you can, help us.
No, I got you.
You got me? That is the only way that you can help us grow our brand, Parlor Talk. And guess what? It's absolutely free. Thank you. Come back, see us next week. And we got more next week. I got some stuff I want to share next week. So make sure you tune in. Cheers!
Cheers!
Clink, 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 clink,
Thank you
clink.
guys.
Good
Oh,
luck.
no.
Prosperity.
I was almost drinking like a shot. I basically did it already. Slow down. That's not what this is. I'm sorry. I'm done. Our 4 Loco days popped up. I was like, yo. Oh, man. It's fun. I know so much training. There we go.
I took a whole while. I was in a coma for days and dying.
And the next day.
Oh, but I loved it though, because I was just a partier.
For the 4 Loco?
Yeah.
Hey, real talk though, I'm a lightweight. I've never finished a 4 Loco.
Oh, I did.
And that's why I want them to bring it back.
I did.
I
Well,
wanna
no,
do-
they have them.
I gotta redeem myself. I feel like a punk,
They
man.
have 4 locals, but it's not the
The same. Yeah, that's why I said I'm not gonna buy that 4 Loco. I want
I never had one.
never.
Stop it.
It tastes horrible. It tastes like
It does.
I wasn't
tastes like jacked up
Watermelon,
Jolly Ranchers.
It was disgusting.